is able to conceal it somehow. And also in terms of how to remove tattoos, there's many things to take into account. Whether it's a single or double layer tattoo, what type of ink was used, what device was used in order to make it, because sometimes they're made very deep inside the skin, in the hypodermis as well. So there's a number of factors to take into consideration. The good thing about permanent makeup is that the equipment is very good. That is normally used in the equipment is good, and also the type of inks are quite good as well. So you can get a good removal, good results, I would say, by using mild treatments, and this is less likelihood of causing a scar or a mark after that. So there's never the 100% likelihood of removing it without leaving a mark. So when you try to remove permanent makeup, always try to do it as mildly as possible. I don't know whether I've answered your question. I've answered it using a lot more information.
Thank you. Avec le laser, c'est toujours il y a des traces. Et c'est pas des traces de laser, c'est ça? Cicatrices. Et de toute façon, c'est jamais à fond. Et par-dessus, on fait un sorte de camouflage pour couvrir les restants. C'est comme ça que ça pratique.
Any other question?
No, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. We've got lots of views on this particular type of video, so we're going to replicate it again. Please feel free to ask any questions. This is going to cover what the physics of plasma is to a certain extent, and why it works really well for skin tightening, localized skin tightening. When we're doing skin tightening, what we're trying to do is get a certain amount of heat transmitted to the skin, into the dermis. So the more heat you get into the skin, the more the skin tightening you get. But you have to be careful, because if you cause too much damage into the dermis, then you can get scarring. So you have to always, this is why lasers are sometimes controversial, because if you do too much, you get problems in terms of scarring. If you do too little, you get no results. So you have to be always in the middle. And the same applies with arcing. So what we're doing is, this is not arcing, by the way, this is called electrodesiccation. Electrodesiccation is also used, has been used for many years in order to coagulate red veins for aesthetic purposes and other purposes as well. But the physics of electrodesiccation and electrofulguration, which is electrical arcing or plasma and so on, is the same. People market it in different ways, but the physics are the same. So what happens in electrodesiccation is that in the design of the device, you've got a return plate, like you may have in the RF device that you use, the maybe the monopolar mainly. And instead of using a big head, you use a small tip, and you've got the return pad. That heat is quite well transmitted inside the skin. So it's so well transmitted that it can denaturate, or in other words, it can destroy tissue up to this level. So at this level, sometimes you get some red veins and so on, so you can coagulate them. When we're talking about fulguration, is the same physics, the exact same, but you don't use a return pad. You use the same sort of frequencies that you used before in electrodesiccation. So normally, the frequencies used are between 100 kilohertz, or sometimes even 50 kilohertz, and then you go up to 500, 600 kilohertz, normally in most devices. In electrofulguration, you keep that sort of frequency, and you increase the voltage. As you increase the voltage, when the tip of the device goes close to the skin, you get an arc, which is the same as lightning. And you get an arc that has high frequency, therefore you cannot feel the electric current. Even there you cannot feel it, because the frequency is high. If the frequency is low, you get a phenomenon called electromuscular stimulation, which is the same thing that you feel when you touch the mains. So many times if you touch the mains, maybe nothing is going to happen to you, hopefully. And especially now with the protection devices that we have. But many years ago, if you touch the mains, you wouldn't actually die because of the heat of the current. You would die because of cardiac arrest. Because of that, the frequency in the mains is actually interfering with your heart frequency, so to speak. So it could actually take you to cardiac arrest. So that's one of the reasons for dying of electric shock. Now it's very difficult, especially in households, because of. So the main difference is the frequency, but the main physics are the same. You change a few parameters in the design, and you've got the two different type of devices. This again, fulguration. This is taken by normal textbooks, so it's nothing that is new. It's been remarketed and rebranded in order to sell it. But what happens is, when you use electrofulguration, this is a phenomenon that's been very well known for several years, not even before I was born. I was born in 1980. No, you're even younger. So you get the carbonization of the skin. So if you watch the videos which you have, you see that there are black spots, and this is the carbonization of the skin. But then also you get the transmission of the heat. So when you carbonize a spot, also you see after a while that the area beside it is quite red, and this is because you've got heat that's been propagated into the skin. Now, for marketing, it's been said a number of times that, especially by bigger brands, that they have proved how some devices are able to carbonize the skin without giving up heat in the surrounding tissue. This is only a marketing exercise, because even with those devices, if you try, you'll find the same redness as you'll find with any other electrofulguration device. So this is a constant. And also it must happen, because if there's no heat released into the skin, then you don't get the skin tightening. So that must happen in order to have some effects. This is me, to scare you, after a high, the day after, a high intensity treatment, lower and upper eyelid. It was very high.
So
and I got redness, and
you can go here too?
we now do not recommend it anyway. We've done some treatments, we didn't get any problem, but we don't recommend it anymore. We do it on the upper part, but we don't go actually too close to the eyelashes anymore. We've done it, but we don't do it anymore. And this was a high intensity treatment, so you see how interesting it can be. We have a page on voltaicplasma.com, it's all in English, where we show you exactly how the area heals over time, so the swelling and everything. There's some people who state that they don't have any swelling. Then we use their devices, and you still get swelling. And they're trying to market devices in order to say that doesn't happen. It does happen anyway. And it's unfortunately something that cannot be changed. You can change it somehow by changing. If you don't want that to happen, it's very unlikely that is not going to happen. But if you want to minimize that, what you do is you decrease the intensity of the treatment and use good numbing products immediately after the treatment. So you use very good numbing product after. So you perform low, medium intensity treatments, and then you apply good, numbing products, good soothing products.
After.
Soothing. I do apologize. Soothing products after. Yes, after. Immediately after. And then in the evening as well.
Like which
We sell something called the Bay Cream. Elsie's got it here, so you can try that. But there's a number of soothing products in the market, but we've got a line for that. But you can find it at the chemist. If you're looking for aloe vera or something of the sort, then you can.
aloe vera?
Maybe, yes, but the products that we actually sell and
Are
are actually really, really good for it. And some of the ingredients are a bit controversial because they're extremely good, but it's still on the cosmetic portal. So we have made products that are extremely good for it. So you can never avoid it altogether, but you can minimize it. You can minimize it. So once again, medium, low intensity treatment, and you apply the soothing product immediately after. That's what you do.
How many times after?
Immediately after, then if you really want to do it well, you can apply immediately after, then you talk to the client, then before it goes, you apply it a bit again, because it gets absorbed really quickly. And then you give something out for them to apply at night. Mind you, it has to be a sterile product, or very, because if you use the wrong products, then it can have some you could increase the likelihood of infections. So you have to get good products for it.
So lower intensity and
Medium, low intensity treatment,
lower.
and then you apply the soothing products.
Donc pour ne pas avoir des rougeurs ou des comme ça, il faut utiliser l'intensité moyenne et petite et tout de suite après les produits calmants. Mais tout de suite. Oui, mais il faut une crème aussi. And it was done with the medical or
With our device.
with your
Yes,
device?
it was done
Okay.
on me with
On
our
you.
device.
So,
Yes.
okay.
And we have it filmed as well. We haven't published it yet.
How many seances you had?
How many?
Sciences.
Session.
Oh, this one was the third one.
The
The
third.
third one, yes, the third one. But then, because it was a high intensity treatment, I had inflammation for 4 months.
Wow.
4 months, yes. It was a high intensity treatment. Yes,
Like that?
yes. No. It was a bit red. It was. You could actually feel that it was changing. The area was changing. So, this is why we say, stay clear of high intensity treatments. Stay clear. So do medium, low intensity treatments, and as everything is going to be fine, people are going to heal really quickly, and then you get good results. Because the problem is, especially at the beginning, even we made the choice of doing high intensity treatments to think that you get much better results, but you actually don't.
It was my next question.
You actually don't. So you're better to stick to medium, mild intensity treatments, and then you're going to get much better customer satisfaction that way. Much better.
And why, when we have to use this high intensity, for which?
No, I wouldn't say for high intensity, for upper eyelid tightening. You can actually use it for crow's feet. The stretch marks are done using another technique, which is the spray method. We actually done it yesterday, and it's going to be published anyway, so you can watch it later on. We've got the footage there, and we're going to get the results as well. For, say, for example, crow's feet attenuation, barcodes, and all that, because the upper eyelid area is too delicate. It's too delicate. The other areas of, of the skin is not as delicate, so you can actually get away with more higher intensity. But the aftercare is much more important than the way you perform the treatment. However, we also made a video, and we instruct on the voltaicplasma.com to actually avoid on the upper eyelid area any high intensity treatments. Avoid them altogether. And we give you also example on what high intensity treatments are like on that video on the voltaicplasma.com. So everything I'm saying today is already covered in detail in videos and other videos on voltaicplasma.com. So you can actually, in your own time, if you ever wanted to study it, yeah. But we don't actually publish books. We publish on the internet. So everything is for public scrutiny.
Okay, I understand. So here very, very medium or low, and here where the skin is just a little bit more strong, we can use it. High.
At the beginning, you always use low, medium, everywhere.
Everywhere.
You get your own experience, and then as you gain experience, you'll understand that you can get away with more. That's the...
Et du coup, ça marche en énergie. Ça peut être bien, ça aussi.
This particular thing of the upper eyelid tightening, of the high intensity treatments, we find it with other devices as well, but we are the only ones who actually wants people not to avoid high intensity treatments, and does so publicly. And you can actually, if you go onto our voltaicplasma.com website, we actually state it very clearly not to do it. So I mean, I haven't died yet. I'm still here. I still look at you, so I'm still okay. It's not the bad thing. That redness, even if you did it, because so many people have been treated with high intensity treatments, but over time it will eventually subside anyway. So it's not a big issue. But if you think about as a business point of view, plasma and localized skin tightening. So that's what happens. So you get that black area on the surface of the skin, but then you get some heat propagated. And this happens, and this is in the literature. It's not as if we say it. It's in the literature already. And if you try yourself, actually when you try yourself, you'll see that the area will become a bit red around that spot. So it's something that happens all the time. You cannot actually change it. There's no way to change it. So in this area, say for example, the heat propagates up to there, and it depends how you propagate. This is, say for example, the electrofulguration. Sorry, the electrodesiccation, when there's no spark. This is the electrofulguration example. So, and that heat is not propagated as much as the electrodesiccation which I've seen before. So, and this is something that always happens. You cannot change it by design. So this is why you have this heating effect, which then leads to the skin. Some people skin contraction, but we call it skin tightening. And this is a picture just to show you just a simple thing, which you'll understand if you use the device on a piece of meat. This is, say for example, 1 millimeter in 1.1 millimeter in depth. This is 1.6 and 2.4. So let's assume we've got the same electrode at three different types of, three different power settings. This is the result. So by changing the power setting and applying the arc for a certain amount, say for example a second, for example, then you can get something of the sort at three different power levels. But then you can get similar results by varying another variable. Let's just say the length of the. So you keep the power the same, and then you just change the timing of the arc. So the longer the arc takes, the more inside you get into the skin. And this is an example. You can actually see yourself on a piece of meat. We've got the meat and we've got the device, so you can try it yourself later on.
But here the intensity is the same.
So you can try to think. We make these slides to try to make a point. Let's just say you can work a very low intensity.
Yes.
The very low intensity. You can hardly see the spark. But if you keep the spark on the same spot, you're going to go inside the skin up to the bone. And it does not matter. It does not matter how low the power level is. As long as there is an arc, a spark, that will continue if you continue with the arcing. So say for example, you have a small arc and you put it on the skin and you keep it there going for several seconds. You're going to cause a hole inside the skin. So, but if you just make an instantaneous spot, that's not going to be a problem.
Discontinue.
If it's only a very short, yes, it's not going to be a problem.
But
If
And
we
we-
stay,
Yes,
that
you can go inside the skin. It goes inside. It goes inside. So
the bone.
you potentially you will get to the bone. So, but there's it's something that people don't actually tell you, but if you try the device on a piece of meat, you'll understand. And we also made videos on that. It's public on our websites and everything. So you can try, and this is repeatable. So it's just to show you how powerful these things can be. And this is the skin tightening using electrical arcing. So you apply the spots as randomly as possible between the lines and never inside the lines.
Between the lines.
Between the lines and never, and randomly,
On the lines.
not inside the lines. We have a number of, I think we're going to show you some mistakes. And we have people coming from other companies who don't publish the information online. We publish everything. Actually teach you to place the spots inside the lines, and you get scars. You get actually very, we're going to show you some examples. One actually going.
Branco Babic?
Hmm?
It's the machine from Branco Babic?
I'll say the name, but I'll edit it out. We'll edit it out. It's called the Fiberblast. We've got a number of complaints. No, people who bought the Fiberblast. Have you heard of it? Maybe. And they come with us. They ask us how to do the treatments and why that happens. And we keep saying the same thing. Just go onto voltaicplasma.com, onto the online training that we do online, free of charge. And you learn all the right techniques. Take the tests, and you will not make that mistake. So basically what they do, once again, they put the spots inside the wrinkle. And we'll show you, we could publish one, so we're going to show you that one later on. So what happens if you do that?
Faut pas le faire dans l'arbitre, faut faire tout autour, sinon ça crée des spots.
Jamais dans le...
We'll show you what not to do in another presentation. So the spot operation, the intensity of the treatment of the spot of the operation is proportional to the duration of the arc. So the longer the arc is, the higher the heat propagated inside the skin. The intensity of the arc, and this is a variable that you can change on the device, the power of the arc. The distance between the spots. The wider the distance, the less the intensity. The shorter the distance, the higher the intensity. So you can change the intensity of the treatment in various ways. So say, for example, you can change it by simply changing the duration of the arc and keeping these two parameters the same, or change the intensity of the arc by changing the power level of the arc and keeping these two parameters the same. For example, 2 millimeters, half a second in duration, or changing only this, so you can decrease the distance between the spots and keep these two parameters the same, almost you like, but you'll get a feel as you'll start doing the treatments yourself. And on our website, voltaicplasma.com, there's a section where we actually teach you how to start on your own just by watching the videos and everything, because we've got loads of examples. So you watch the videos, you just do the same, and then you gain confidence as you go along. So you may ask yourself, what should I do at the beginning? So, but that's very simple, because we have made that information available, what to do at the beginning. So that's what we. So why is the intensity of the treatment proportional to the distance between the spots? And this slide explains that. Say, for example, this spot, we've got the sum in here. We've got the sum of the heat propagated from this spot and that spot. So that this is, you've got a bit of the heatness going at this point. You've got a bit from this spot 1, which we call x1, and a bit from the spot 2. So if you so if you make them closer together, the heat at that point is higher. But if you make them if you place the spots a bit further apart, at that point it's going to be lower. So the closer they are, the more the heat you get into the skin, the more heat density you get into the skin. So that's the point.
Ok.
Plus on rapproche les points,
Plus c'est profond
plus ça
et
va
c'est
vite.
fort.
Donc pour les rides profondes, c'est
Plus elles sont distancées, plus c'est en surface.
d'accord.
Ok, c'est logique parce qu'elles ont un point commun. Les radiations, elles viennent en diagonale et à un moment donné, elles sont en point X,
Ça
oui.
fait quoi le point X?
Bah, c'est l'intensité de la puissance.
Bah, le point X, c'est là où ça va se stimuler en fait.
Oui.
Parce que ça va remonter le creux.
Et plus les shots.
Mais là, il est sur le point, il est pas sur les rives, là.
Oui, mais parce que c'est en
on va
coupe.
t'expliquer après. Ok.
Do you understand why? Yes.
Yes.
Ah, on était de chaque côté de la ride.
Voilà, en fait,
Ouais.
de chaque côté de la
D'accord.
le travail.
We are on the sides of the wrinkle here.
Yes. Let's assume this as an example. It's just an example. In this example, we're only trying to make you understand why
Yes.
that happens.
Okay.
Because if you understand why, then that concept sticks in. You'll remember. If you understand why, you'll remember.
How to do it?
You remember that concept much better if you understand the why. This is why we made this particular slide. So, say for example, I'll try again so everybody will hopefully understand a bit better. Let's take this point here, x1, okay? And let's assume we're moving this way, and we're keeping the, so at this point, this is going to be here, okay? Here, because the distance is shorter, you're going to, and the same point, you're going to get more heat propagated from that point in there than you would get if it were there. Do you understand why? So the closer together they are, at the same point, the more heat you're going to have. Because at that one point, you're going to get two heating, well, two sorts of heat. One from that point and another from there. So if that is there, for instance, then you're going to get nothing from this other spot. Let's assume it's not there anymore, and you place it here. At this point, you're going to mainly feel the heat from that spot, but not as much from this spot.
La distance est... Ok. C'est proportionnel, la distance avec la puissance. Ok.
So yes, we've got the same concept. Any question about this particular one?
No.
Okay, beautiful. So we're going to go into.
Et alors du coup, le fait que ce soit rapproché, ça a plus d'impact en profondeur ou ça a juste un impact sur
L'intensité.
sur le fait que ça va aller plus vite parce que c'est plus...
Oui, l'intensité plus chaude.
Mais là, l'intensité,
C'est la même, l'intensité là est la même, c'est juste rapprocher les points.
Oui, donc vous allez traiter la partie la plus rapprochée de Rich. Vous allez traiter chaque...
Sorry.
Si ça c'est la... On vient là, on va traiter la partie... mais si vous êtes là, qu'est-ce que vous traitez? Un tout petit peu, et là c'est pas traité. Donc vous devez revenir à l'intérieur.
D'accord, mais alors là, ce que j'ai compris, c'est que là, j'arrive, et que si je fais là et là, ça va venir juste en surface, et que si je fais là et là, ça va aller plus profond. Parce que la ride, elle creuse en fait, le vide, ça vient comme ça. Donc c'est ça en fait qui explique aussi.
vous avez dit tout à l'heure qu'elle ne va être pas dans la ride, mais sur chaque
Oui, enfin,
extrémité de la ride.
oui, enfin non, autour en fait.
Donc, reposez votre question.
I want to know, this is my wrinkles,
Uh-huh.
okay? If we do the spot here and here, the
Uh-huh.
intensity will be more inside. That's why you explain? You understand?
No. I'm just trying to say something different. I think that's a good point. That plasma localized. That's there. Okay. So look at this slide again.
Yeah.
What is it? View. Do apologize. This I'm not very familiar with. Okay. Let's forget the wrinkle for now. The point I'm trying to make is why the distance between the spots determines the intensity of the treatment. Again, why, if I get the distance between the two spots a bit closer, you get a higher intensity treatment, keeping the other two variables the same. The variables are the intensity of the arc and the duration of the arc. Why? Follow me here. Try again. Let's try again. It's no problem. So let's assume this doesn't exist. At this point, you're going to get the heat from this particular spot in there. You get nothing elsewhere. But then if I add the spot in there, at this point, already say for example, let's make it this way, see whether I can. Let's say we're going to make a spot in here. At this point, then you're going to feel, this skin is going to feel the heat from this point only. So nothing, and then we do nothing else. So that's it. So at this point, we only have the heating from this.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Then, a few seconds later, I'm going to add another spot in there. So this particular point in the skin, then again, is going to feel the heat. The heat from this point, from this spot in there. This is all I'm trying to explain. Is that clear?
Yes.
So this particular point, when you add an extra spot, it's going to feel a bit more heat. So you get, at this point, the intensity is higher because you've got the extra. Yes.
You had two hits.
Okay.
For the
Yes.
same
To make
point.
it simple. Now,
Mais j'allais-
do you understand the logic?
Yeah.
Do you understand that? Yeah.
Okay.
Now, let's go a bit further. Let's assume we place a spot, so you get the heat from that spot. Let's assume this spot is actually closer.
Yeah.
Here, you're actually going to get a lot of heat from this particular spot, but even more from that spot. So at this particular spot, you're going to get a higher temperature because you've got more heating because this spot was closer. So if you put loads of spots closer together,
It's better.
is actually a higher intensity treatment altogether.
Better results.
Better results. And more quickly. Yeah?
Yes, I'd say so. I would say so.
Logical.
Yes, I'd say so. Yes, but every time you increase the intensity of the treatment, you get more potential problems, like the redness that lasts longer.
D'accord?
And yes,
Plus c'est intense,
yeah,
plus on a les effets secondaires de les rougeurs.
mais oui,
Les
oui, oui.
rougeurs.
Tu vas brûler plus fort.
mais oui.
Oui. Mais
Oui.
ça va plus vite. It's more quickly.
Mais c'est moins bien.
But it's for
In
the
term-
client, it's not good for the pen and for the redness. That's
You get a slightly better result, compared to the medium and lower intensity, but it's not, from a business point of view, I don't think it's a good idea.
okay. So okay.
Okay, for example, I have a client who understands all the procedure and she's okay with the post-procedure effects, redness, swelling,
Yes.
because she wants to be okay for, I don't know, 1 month she has on to finish with her wrinkles.
Yes.
In this case, I can use it this intensity to
A high intensity?
high intensity. So I will have results, but with redness
Uh-huh.
and the other seconds effects. But I am on the right procedure. I don't hurt the skin.
Okay. You don't need to take notes. You can if you wish, but everything is going to be public, so you can watch it again.
Okay.
You can, but we're going to publish everything we
That's
say.
better with the type. Thank
Je
you.
pense que ce que j'ai expliqué.
Okay. The higher the intensity, the better the results you get, the much faster. But you get more redness,
Yeah, okay.
you get more swelling, you get
But
more
if
pain.
we are okay with
You
that,
get
It's okay.
So it's up to you
Yeah.
to make that decision as long as the customer knows it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's not going to be a problem because you will know that information really well and really quickly, because once you start using this sort of devices and you have done a low intensity treatment or a medium intensity treatment, then you'll see the results, and then you will automatically, you will not even think, and you will actually, oh, okay, let's make it a bit stronger. Okay, so we're going to get better results. Don't do an upper eyelid. Upper eyelid, no,
Never.
no,
Okay.
because it's not worth it. Just try to do many times. It's not worth it. On other areas, then you will understand yourself, because you will try to get better results for certain people quicker. But in my view, is it worth it? Maybe not. But as long as you know the effects, you know the potential added risks that you're incurring, the customer knows it, then if everybody, yes, you can do it indeed. I mean, to give you a bit in context, we have done so many high intensity treatments, it's incredible. Several, I can't even count them all. We've got so many videos because everything we do, we always video, we always keep on record. We haven't published them all, only a small fraction of it. Nothing has happened. The only thing is for the upper eyelid area, it's not worth it because you get too many people complaining about the redness that goes in the upper eyelid area only for too long, and they don't like it. Even I didn't like it. So if I thought, no, I don't like it, so I can't do it. So in my case, we started a medium intensity treatment. We've done another. We've got 2 treatments, a medium intensity, beautiful, nice. The third one was high intensity. No, I didn't like it. I did not like it. And I've seen other feedback from other devices that says the same thing. So we made the decision this year of actually forbidding it altogether, actually advising not to do them anymore. And then you'll find this on the upper, a high intensity treatment on the upper eyelid. No way. Okay. No, just don't do it. It's not worthwhile. But on the other areas, if you want to do it, by all means, you just once you know the results of the medium and low intensity treatments, then you will automatically try it, and then you'll see. But
Moi j'ai 2 petites questions, vous avez peut-être la réponse sur ça. Les points, on les fait de chaque côté de la ride ou à chaque extrémité de la ride?
De chaque côté.
Donc c'est sur toute la longueur de la ride?
Ouais. Parce qu'en fait, ça va.
The spots will do
on
all the longer of the wrinkle and on the every sides of the.
yes, Onigo, ask me the question, please. Yes, please, so I understand.
So here is the wrinkle.
Uh-huh.
We are going from here to here, or tack, 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 or tack, 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 tack.
Okay.
Tack, tack, which is the model application.
Let's make it. Let's say we've got the wrinkles here. Yes, you can see this. You can see this. You've got 1, 2, and 3. Yes. You just apply them this way. This the way that we showed you. Is it? But try not to make them in line. Don't go bum 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 bum. No lines. No lines. No. You always try to apply them randomly. Can you see that here there's no a pattern that you can recognize. Here there's no pattern that you can recognize. Here there's no pattern that you can recognize. Here there's no pattern you can recognize. The only thing you have to do is just make sure you don't actually make straight lines or lines with the thing. Because if you make lines, then you get more likelihood of something showing later on. But if it's completely random, so far we haven't seen a single problem. Just once again, for you to understand the why. For Asian eyelid tightening, double eyelid tightening, what some people do in order to create that fold is they make on the eyelid, I don't have an eyelid here. On the eyelid, let's say this is the eyelid, the Asian, they make actually a line. So then you've got a higher likelihood when you open your eyes to have that line forming. So you could bum 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 bum. They actually cause a line bum 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 bum.
Tous les petits points noirs qui sont dessinés, c'est là où il aurait appliqué l'appareil, c'est ça?
Oui.
En fait, il faut couvrir tout.
Oui, mais il ne faut pas
Pas
faire
de rides.
quelque chose de uniforme.
Oui, voilà.
Jamais. Parce qu'elle va nous expliquer pourquoi. Mais c'est surtout aussi quand on fait au-dessus, certaines font en ligne. Quand la paupière s'ouvre, on a le modèle des points bien alignés. Donc il faut les disperser pour ne pas avoir. Ok, I understood.
Okay.
Moi c'était pas super clair.
But if it's not clear, we can go back again. Avoiding mistakes. This is a very interesting slideshow. So,